first of all, can I ask you to introduce yourself?
Of course, and you're very welcome. I'm very happy and excited to be here. My name is Mamkhabela Mthembu, Mamkhabela being my first name. And yeah, I'm very happy to be here.
Now, you are, according to your bio, it says that you are a climate policy advocate who is passionate about environmental law and climate justice.
Yes.
So tell me, where does this climate activism come from?
So to be very honest, right, it came from when I started my degree, obviously at the university that I'm in. And I do law competitions, so moot court competitions. And then in my second year, so what moot court is, you basically get like a fake scenario, and then as students you prepare like your arguments, and then you get to argue it in front of like a court, but then in that court it would be like real lawyers and stuff like that. And then in my second year there was a moot court competition that was based on environmental law. And so it's really like just, sparked my interest in the sense that I was always doing very, contractual stuff, your normal sort of law. And then when I got that, fact complex in a moot court competition, it really sparked my journey of, being a legal climate activist.
Okay, so you are part of the Green Rising Through a Fresh Lens book and photography project. First of all, are you a photographer?
So no. But now I am. So it's like I was actually saying earlier today that when I got introduced to this project, I had so much anxiety because I'm like, Kim, I don't know photography. Like, I don't view myself as like a creative like that. But Kim obviously is one of the best photographers in South Africa, international. He trained us on how to, do photography techniques, how to shoot in certain angles. So it shows that you don't have to be a photographer to be part of this project, and it's all about just opening photography to everyone. And so that was very interesting and quite empowering for me.
So one of the things that they wanted to do with this project was to get young people who are climate activists, to tell a story about climate and climate change through photographs.
Yeah.
Talk me through the photos that you contributed to this book.
Of course. So we first had to think of a story before we took the pictures. And so I had like several ideas. One day I was just like walking around campus, like the campus vicinity in my university, and I noticed litter around, which is quite common, and it's very sad to say it's quite common. And then I got inside this residence, and inside this residence there were beautiful plants. So then in my head I'm like, oh, so we pollute plants outside only to recreate fake plants inside. And I was like, that's the story. The story is we want to recreate Mother Nature's beauty, but we continuously kill her outside because we don't appreciate her for the breath of life that she gives us. We only appreciate her for her beauty. And that's why it's so easy for us to, reincarnate her. And that's why my story is that. And, recreate her inside buildings. And so that was my process, my story. And then Kim helped me through it. I also had a friend, Ruth Varsveld, who is a photographer, who also helped me with the techniques and everything. And so that's the process, and that's how we got here.
So one of the things, another thing I wanted to know from you was, why did you decide to participate in this? I mean, it is outside your wheelhouse.
It is, but then also art is never outside anyone's wheelhouse. I might not have thought I could create art, but I've always consumed art. I've always loved art. I like photos. And so, that's why I participated. And also, like I said, this is an African story. It's climate justice through an African lens. And so a passion is a passion, no matter what form it comes through.
So what do you want people to take away from looking at this book, looking at your photographs? What would be the one takeaway you would want people to go away with?
I think we need to stop thinking that activism stops in boardrooms and parliament in these spaces. I think we need to start restructuring activism from this very elitist form, which I feel is very elitist, and in the sense that when we discuss policies about climate change, it's always very formal, it's always very, structured. This is a form of activism, this is telling a story. And so I want people to know that in whatever, area of life that you're in, climate change activism does not have to look a certain way. It could be if people are littering at your work, tell people to stop littering. That's climate change. Just because I'm in a book and you're not in a book, it doesn't mean that it is not climate change activism. And so I want everyone to be inspired and know that they can do something. They can do something, definitely.
And I think that is a beautiful place to end it. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you. And thank you so much for having us here. And thank you so much for spreading the cause.